Hey everyone, I want to talk about the correlation and relation between chronic pain, whether it's biological, structural, you actually have something wrong with you. Also why the psychology, the way you view those conditions, matters a lot more than you think. All the avoidance behaviors built into that, why recovery from complex regional pain syndrome, why recovery from chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia. Anyone that you talk to in the insomnia world, people who have come out the other side, even if they still have lingering symptoms, why changing your perspective, why decreasing your avoidance behaviors is so important for overcoming chronic pain. My experience working with chronic pain, everything I've seen in my life being in healthcare, and why it's so important to teach people how to view their pain differently, whether they have something that's real, 100% provable, it's there, you got it. This can go from anything, all the way to Parkinson's, to someone who's lost their legs in a wheelchair, extreme PTSD. Again, whether it's real or not isn't the most important thing. Your perspective on your outcomes, the remainder of your life, the hindrance from this, from your condition on your life, mixed with your behaviors, is what's keeping a lot of the fear cycle alive. Before I go any further, please subscribe, hit that like button down below. We have that direct message from Phil. We can get you in right away. We are cooking, working all over the world, dozens and dozens of countries. I mean, I got people coming out all over the place, right? Bulgaria, Germany, all over the EU, New Zealand, Australia, islands, Malta I've worked with, Thailand, Bali, all over America. Every place you can think of, I'm working with there, and we all are in the team, and we're doing everything we can to bring you all the time zones. So sometimes for me, the Australia ones and New Zealand can be tough, but that's why we have Sam, we have Momin, we have Rob. It is a great thing. Don't be afraid to reach out, especially with this. I've had numerous people in the last couple of weeks come in with complex regional pain, with chronic fatigue, with fibro, and now they're finally starting to see that 99.9% of the information from their providers, from the internet, is unfortunately only a piece, a fraction of the recovery process. So pain and anxiety are not very different. They are emotional experiences in the mind, okay? If you have someone who stubs their toe, let's actually make this different. If we have two people who stub their toe, okay? 5 out of 10 on the Richter scale of pain. 5 out of 5. Jimmy and John, okay? But Jimmy's beliefs about stubbing his toe are very poor. And he starts avoiding and complaining and whining and venting. That 5 will more than likely feel like a 7 or higher. But John stubs his toe, understands that's a perspective in life. That's an experience that life comes with. Hurting yourself, falling down the stairs, slipping on ice. It's a very simple example, but this applies to everything. You can scale this or bring it down in any way you want. Because people say, well, I'm different. I have a serious condition. That is already blocking you right there. That type of thought, the I'm the exception, I'm different, I'm worse, I could easily play that. I could easily say, I have obsessive compulsive disorder. I have a much harder life than you. I could say it to almost anyone that doesn't have OCD. But I wouldn't do that because it's not actually going to help me. So when Jimmy and John, when John stubs his toe, his experience of that, because of his perspectives and his avoidance behaviors, can feel like a 2 or a 3. Both are flat 5s. One experience is a 7, one experience is a 2 because of the belief systems on the experience. Now, when I look at people with chronic pain patterns, I want to go through all of the behaviors that they do that really hold them back. Okay? And then I'm going to use this book right here, and I'm going to go through one of the exercises to show you how you start to break this down. Behaviors. Number 1 is research, Google, and doctors. Okay? If you are stuck in this loop and you've been seeing doctor after doctor and you're Googling and researching all day, that will have to go. You're going to have to sit with the uncertainty and not see doctors for a while. Certain conditions, you won't be able to do that depending on the severity, but the principles work. Okay? So research, Google, doctors. Next one. Remember, this is specifically about pain, is avoidance of PT. physical therapy or physical activity. So people are very careful about how they move, their posture. There is no such thing as the correct posture. The correct posture does not exist, and it will never exist. There are postures that are conducive, but the body is dynamic. We move. We're not passive creatures. We like to move. We like to get up. That's why stand-up desks work so well. It's why people now have these treadmills underneath their desks when they're doing work. I've seen this in doctors' offices. I've seen a couple of YouTubers have that. So avoidance of physical therapy, physical activity, whatever you want to call it. Yes, you can build a hierarchy, but getting back, I've seen people do incredible things. People who are diagnosed with fibro in bed, recovering, out running again. Yes, this stuff is possible. By the way, the pain that you feel is real. That experience in your mind is real. We're not discrediting that. We're honing in on the behaviors and the beliefs that give the extra perception that you're broken. Now, this one goes against what a lot of the really good pain guys say on the internet, and I think it's very problematic. That's tracking, okay? Specifically, somatic tracking. No need whatsoever. You're already so compulsive about your symptoms. I've seen people with spreadsheets. They're coming in with Excel spreadsheets. That is a spreadsheet. They're coming in with anything that could document their symptoms, how they're feeling, why they're feeling it. The automatic feelings of how this goes. So let me make real quick a sidestep of how you could see this. So, you wake up in the morning, and let's say you use a very generic, you have back pain fears. So I'm just, for simplicity, I'll put LBP, low back pain. So you wake up in the morning, and you have key, this is so key, automatic sensations. So you'll have automatic pain. This is going to be here for a long time. So you have automatic pain, and then plus some of the intrusive thoughts that come with it. Okay? Remember, this is a waterfall. Always think about when you go into a restaurant, maybe you go into a Chinese restaurant, you see one of those Buddha statues with the water that flows into different waterfalls. The top waterfall is the Genesis. That would be the morning, which is the core fear. I didn't write that part, but we'll put the core fear, which is, if I have this low back pain forever, my life is ruined, which we're going to go into that when I open the book. That comes with the automatic sensations and the intrusive thoughts. Because that's there, you now perform outward avoidance. This is just one tiny example of what people do. And there's different things that we have to do in all different levels. You're not going to be able to get away from this automatic aspect. You're going to have to start your day with the pain there. Then the outward avoidance will have to come down over time. This is going to take a while. This isn't going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen over in a month. Usually it takes 6, 12, 18, 24 months to really change your beliefs on the fears of hurting yourself, being in pain forever, whether the pain, again, is going to be there or not. So back to the behaviors. We have the Google, the researching, the doctors, avoidance of physical activity, tracking. The other one, and this is massive, are supplements. Now, most people, supplements will have to go because they're compulsively taking them to run from your symptoms. Anything you're doing to run from your pain symptoms is keeping you stuck, more than likely, to a large degree. This is difficult because, there's a lot of stuff out there like gabapentin for nerve problems. But even when I work with people who are on gabapentin, always speak to your provider. A lot of the people that take gabapentin, which is a nerve medication, there's a lot of fear avoidance. And there's a lot of talking about their problems, which leads me into the next behavior, is constantly talking about your condition. Talking about it. People, I always use the example, I was at a business seminar and the guy raised his hand. He said, yeah, just so you know, I'm a trauma survivor. This had nothing, just like a marketing business meeting. When I saw that guy do that, and I was not where I am today, I was 2-3 years ago, I thought, that is a very bad way to live your life. Not that we're discrediting the trauma or the pain, which I don't use the word trauma anyway. I think it's a very poor word that creates dependency on badges of honor. which is not good. Again, that's not people when they hear that, they're like, you're discrediting my trauma. That's not what I'm saying. But that again, in itself, when you say you are discrediting me, I'm allowed to discredit you. Anyone is. I know you don't want to hear that, but you can. People don't have to believe that your pain is real. It doesn't matter what other people believe. Yes, it hurts, it stings. And it's not about not giving a fuck. It's about accepting that other people will not understand, nor do we need them to. So talking about your problems all the time is a big problem. So that's what that would look like. These are just some of the stuff. Like, again, remember, some things are real. I have psoriasis. So what does that mean? I'm not sure if you can even see it, but you see how there's the dip in my nail right there at the top? My nails are all pitted. So they're all like mangled and deformed. You can kind of see that one a little bit, like how it's all like kind of weird looking. That's a real problem. That doesn't give me any sort of anxiety or anything. And psoriasis can actually turn to psoriatic arthritis and can actually eat away at my fingers. It can actually eat my fingers away. You could look that up on Google. That's a fun one to trigger you with health, OCD, and anxiety. So again, the way you're running from pain, the way you view pain is no different than the way you view panic, anxiety, depression, anger, that actual sensation part, and the avoidance behaviors mixed in. This is a very oversimplified video. It takes a long time for me to sit down and deconstruct all of the little behaviors. I had a couple calls over the last couple of days where, we were going deep diving into these type of behaviors because they're like, look, I didn't even know this was a problem. So, but it was. It was definitely a problem. So let's go into the belief. I'm going to use the page I always use, which is page 70. The goal. My goal is to become comfortable with any physical pain sensation, intrusive urges, or thoughts related, not really images with this. You could have images of how your life will turn out, but it's usually more the sensations and the thoughts around it. Your activating event could be anything that triggers your pain. Hearing stories of people with no legs. Seeing people with chronic fatigue syndrome suffering in Reddit forums. Stop going to Reddit. Stop going to forums. It's very bad for you. Let's go to the irrational belief. No matter what, I must escape this pain. This is the big problem with all of the medical community. Chiros, physical therapists, massage therapists, everyone. Reiki, dry needling. There's a place for everything. Balance is important. But if you're just showing up to rid yourself of a problem, that is the problem. So no matter what, I must get rid of this pain. If I can't, it's awful. I can't stand it. There's nothing worse than experiencing this pain. This equals a consequence, which has emotions and behaviors. The consequence on the emotional side could be increased pain sensation. Remember that first example I used about Jimmy and John. Both 5 out of 5. I hate stubbing my toe. Feels like a 7 out of 10. It's okay. Not fun. Drops back down to a 2, maybe even a 1. Even though the level of input is a 5. There's a fancy term for this called NSS, nociceptive system sensitization. No need to know any of those terms. I'm just using that to show you how we show people in the medical field at times what's happening. And we have no idea where it's happening. We don't know if it's strictly in the central nervous system, the brain and the spinal cord. We don't know if it's all the way from the central nervous system to the peripheral nervous system, all the way down the brachial plexus and all the different nerve roots. We don't know. Is it one compartment, like complex regional pain syndrome? It doesn't actually matter. Honing in on where the pathology isn't really that important if there's a structural, biological, environmental problem, if the belief is faulty, and faulty means irrational. So this is very, very important to go over. Now, when you're looking at your rational belief, here's one basic example. I don't like feeling this pain, but it's frustrating, but not the end of the world. Focusing on the gratitude, the things that you do have in your life. How can I change my perspectives and my behaviors to match getting better? If I fail, how can I do better next time? Okay, let's go over some disputing. Why must I not have chronic pain? Where is the evidence that says I don't deserve it? Effective new philosophy. There is no reason why I must never have chronic pain, but there are several reasons why I would prefer it. No evidence exists that I have to get away from this pain. If the universe ruled that, then I wouldn't have pain. If I don't get away from this, it is absolutely awful. How do you dispute that? In no way is it absolutely awful. It is hardly 100% inconvenient. and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. When you're doing this, you're going to feel confused. When you're doing this, you're going to feel hopeless, but that's how you start to break this down. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Chronic pain, chronic anxiety, OCD, PTSD, GAD, panic disorder, all basically presenting in similar ways from beliefs perspective, whether it's real or not. Because people with pain go, but I have a real problem. I say, so do people with real event. Real event have real problems. It happened, right? They weren't paying attention. They were texting and driving. They ran a red light. A car hit them and killed their friend. That's a real event. Now they have survivor's guilt, chronic guilt, obsessive compulsive disorder, PTSD. Doesn't really matter. Just the belief is not good. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think about these chronic pain videos. I see this a lot every day, and I work with a lot of people, and we can get them better, and there's a lot of hope. Look for that direct message from Phil down below, and hope to hear from you soon. Have a good one, everyone.